Hello and welcome along to the final ever episode from the FM22 Head Coach story with me, Daniel. We're back today with something slightly different. It is 5 years later since we've resigned from the Real Madrid job, just days after winning that Champions League trophy against all odds. And we are here to see how the footballing world's changed, how our record stacks up, and how our former clubs have been getting on in the world of football. The first good news before all the introductions is I can see the message there, Luton promoted to the Championship. So there's one bit of good news, back to the second tier. But if you are looking forward to this, seeing how our former clubs have got on and what on earth is happening in the world of football, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. The Hemel series continues as normal tomorrow. You can find a link to that story and the new season up in the eye above. And there's also a brand new series replacing this one on Saturday. I hope you're looking forward to it. It's something a bit different, so please do come and give it a try if you haven't already. In the meantime though, there's also links up there to the Twitch channel, the football podcast and the merchandise store too. And you can support the show as a channel member by clicking the join button down below if you wish. But let's get straight into this. We're going to split this into 2 stages. Us, then the footballing world. And of course we've got a second angle from this one as well. Those of you that follow on Twitch, when we did our 10-year review in this save, we found Birmingham going down to non-league and we've taken them over. So I want to see how their rise or drop has continued since then too. But let's start by looking at our profile. How does our record stack up? Well, we've still got a 4.5-star reputation. We still look an incredibly good manager there. Most of our characteristics and attributes have stayed intact, and our record over time is absolutely brilliant. A win percentage of around 2/3 in the end. The goal difference is magnificent, and to be fair, the last 4 years were basically just constant success, despite the one little blip in the league at Madrid. But let's move quickly past that, because I think we knew what that outcome was going to be. What I want to see is our former clubs and how they've been getting on. So, the last time we reviewed this was in 2031 at the 10-year mark. Let's see how Kefren Druids are doing now in the Welsh Premier League. So they're second at the end of this season. That's a good sign. What's the standard of their manager? He's okay. He's better than what they would have had at the start. Let's just have a look at their captain as well. Corey Griffiths is 30 years old and not bad, but we're still talking a pretty poor level overall. The values haven't really gone up. The standard of the league hasn't hugely. And of course, you're not going to expect to see many names here that are familiar. But there is one, surprisingly. So those of you following the Birmingham save on Twitch will know we've got this number 10, Arwell Rowlands. Well, here he's at Kefren Druids, and he's actually a pretty good player. So maybe there are some signs that the standard has increased, though only 2 European appearances would suggest they went out of the first attempt. So in terms of the Welsh Premier League, they had finished second. It's a league that has improved slightly. It's up to 75th in the rankings, but is nowhere near the standard you'd want it to be. And if we have a look at Kefren Druids in particular, have they managed to win a title? They won 1. Yes, TNS have been dominant for the most part, but Kefren Druids got 1 title in 2034. That makes it all worthwhile. 1.5-star reputation. Should we just check the year after that? Did they manage to get European group stage football just that once? They didn't, unfortunately. They went out in the 3rd qualifiers for that one, but still, they've done okay. I would have expected worse, if I'm being brutally honest. Let's move on to Dover, where we had brilliant success. They are a League 2 club now. They're doing well. They're pretty solid in this save. Have they got any players that we still recognise from anywhere? I highly doubt it, and we wouldn't expect that from our early clubs. Let's have a look, though, at what's been happening with them since we were here. They've been basically a bit of a yo-yo club between League 2 and the National League. So that was when we took them up in 25-26. They then came straight back down. They've been up 3 times since, and this time they've stayed up. So maybe that's a positive sign for the future. It's the highest ever finish in this save this year. So Dover doing pretty well. The most you could expect for a club of the size, I expect. Sheffield Wednesday, of course, the briefest stint we had in a series. They obviously came up at the end of the season we left them, made it up in the playoffs, came straight back down. But now they've had a weird turn of events. They gradually fell down League One and actually got relegated 2 years ago. But now back-to-back promotions. And Jim Kerr is looking like a hero because he's kept them up as well. In fact, he hasn't. He only took over this year. So who was the manager who got back-to-back promotions? It was Sol Campbell. Took them up twice in a row and got sacked 2 months later. I mean, that's incredibly harsh. He did a really good job there by the looks of it, though. Any familiar names from anywhere? I'm afraid not. Oh, no, there is. Not from this save, but Albi Armin. Legend from our Hemel Hempstead save. He's not quite as good in this one, but what a footballer regardless. Lovely to see him having a good career here too. Let's move on to one of the stages where it all kicked off for us, and it was Bristol City, the Arian Kalantari show, the chance to show our Premier League credentials, and we did just that. How have they done since? I mean, they've just been a mid-table championship club. So the season we finished 7th was there. They finished 7th once more. They finished 8th. They've largely finished in mid-table. I think their lowest finish is 14th, so they're very established in fairness. Let's have a look at the players they've got in. Any players that we managed here, probably too late for that, but no one that we managed after either. So Bristol City doing all right. Maybe not huge success, but certainly been a solid club. Crystal Palace, though, is the interesting one. A club we had enormous success at playing a certain style of play. They then ruined their progress for a couple of years by hiring the old United manager, Niko Kovac. Didn't work out for him, but then they made a little bit of a comeback after he left. And he seems to be doing the same now. And we recognise the skipper. That's a good sign. Let's see where they've been finishing. They have had no repeated success, but they did finish 7th the season before last. They've got Alan Rios and Lojny both still there, who we had in our stint. Anybody else? Chris Tipple still going. He's 33. He scored a lot of goals for England. He's a wonderful player. Lojny is a brilliant centre-half and has developed into such. And then what about Alan Rios, who's now 31? He is unbelievable in fairness. That recruitment when we were there, we criticised it a bit, but the young ones, certainly of a standard, willing to compete. They've got 37-year-old Durrami, so they're still employing some of the old boys, still working for the experienced ones in the transfer window. But I'm really impressed to see a few of them still there. And it's still a solid Premier League club, so certainly no big criticism labelled at them. On to Manchester United, where we won 3 back-to-back titles, a Champions League, a League Cup and an FA Cup. And don't forget the Europa Conference and Community Shield too. Pep Guardiola, City legend, is in charge. Did not expect to see that. Fournier and Guy are still there. 3 or 4 years later, that spine of a team that was being built when we left, I'd imagine is still at the club. So you can see the youngsters, Casal. One of the big surprises actually is some of those who were wonder kids or young players in the side when we left. The likes of Stephen Redmond has come through and become an elite centre-half. Sonny Pavati's still there. Santiago Bonjour, another one of those wonder kids in midfield. They finally signed Phil Jeffrey after years of us being linked with him. Marco Halloran's in the first team squad, a very good central midfielder. And then a few of the familiar names. Gaia, Basone, who's just leaving this summer at the end of his contract. And of course, Emmanuel Yakubu. What a hero. What a player. And he's continued to develop and come on leaps and bounds. He's now 31 years of age. He's joined by Jerome Fournier and by Celian Boyer, who are both still stars at the club. And Manchester United, second in the league. How many titles have they won since we went? They have won a few in fairness. So we left in 2033. They then won it 2 years in a row after. Inexplicably dropped to 5th. Then won it again. Then last year finished 3rd. This year 2nd. Little bit odd. I guess they're coming towards the end of another squad cycle, but they did continue their success after we left. Did they win anything else during that time as well? We have a look at the competition. So they won another Champions League. They won a Europa League a couple of years ago. They won another FA Cup. They won another League Cup. So they have continued to succeed. Never won the European Super Cup final since though, which is a little bit strange. Let's go on to our final club though, Real Madrid. I want to know where Arian Kalantari is. Firstly, the manager who's replaced us is Martin Demichelis. He has been there ever since, I think, so must have had some relative success. A second in the league again this year, though, so not quite made it that time. Robert Altmaier is still there. He is now the captain. How have they been doing? Well, they did win that elusive title just the year after we left, but have not won one since. So maybe a sign that we left at the right time, or if we'd done one more year, we would have got the best out the side and then seen a gradual decline after. But no threat of falling down to 3rd, which is great. Have they won anything else in terms of the big trophies? No more Champions Leagues. They won the European Super Cup after we went. They've won the Spanish Cup again. They've won the Spanish Super Cup once. but not a huge array of trophies. They've not done a great deal. We probably would have expected a little bit more. Let's have a look at the senior squads. Is Kalantari still there? I don't think he is. So they've got a lot of old players still, but the squad is generally a lot younger. So it looks like, in fairness to them, they've been bringing through the next generation, because our squad was almost all over 30. Theirs is almost all under. They've still got Manuel, Altmaier. Nianzu's just leaving and retiring now. Diallo's still there, moving up. Roberto is the second youngest in the squad. He was the kid that we brought on in a Champions League final at 4-0. What a player he's turning into, though maybe not quite as good as I expected him to be. I miss Joseph Rihar as well. He was still in the squad. But what on earth happened to Arian Kalantari? That's the big question on everyone's lips. Unai Alonso, they actually sold for a profit this year, so I'll have to eat my words on that one. Kalantari, where are you? Don't say you've retired. You must have been sold. Keep going back. We're into the first season since. So he was sold immediately after. 62 million to PSG. He's now at Aston Villa, having not really done well at PSG. 24 appearances in 4 years. What a waste of his prime years. He's come to Villa. He scored one a game, as we would expect. Oh, that's such a shame. Why did he not stay or go somewhere he was going to play? I guess the money was probably too much to refuse. But regardless, he's still my legend and the man who did the most for our career at 2 different clubs. With that done though, let's go and have a look at the English football pyramid. We'll keep an eye out for where Birmingham are as well. Of course, having been managing them on Twitch. But let's see if there's any big surprises. It doesn't look like it hugely. West Ham and Leicester have broken into that top 7 in the Premier League. Tottenham nowhere near it. Seems to be the pattern in most saves now. Chris Tipple's still the top scorer in the Premier League. Yakubu the highest average rating. Alan Rios the most assists. We've managed some superstars, we can say that for sure. Let's move down to the Championship. Anything big in there? I'd say no is the simple answer. I know they were relegated, but Chesterfield were in the Championship, having started in the National League, so 3 promotions for them. There's also a relegation for Forest, who may well be coming up to the Premier League this weekend, and the likes of AFC Wimbledon in there too. We saw that Luton were promoted to the Championship. That was by winning a playoff final. Notts County, another club coming from National League to Championship. They're going to be in England's second tier next year. Hull relegated to League 2, having started in the Championship. But again, nothing too shocking at the moment. And no sign of Birmingham, although I miss Boston United there. They've gone up 3 divisions too from the National League North. In League 2, I wouldn't say there's anything too surprising. The League 2 playoff final hasn't been played yet, weirdly. Stockport down, Sutton down. Still no Birmingham, so they must still be in non-league. That is not what I expected to see. I thought they might have bounced back. Are they in the National League? Because this could be a horror story. I mean, I've either missed them way up the divisions, or... No, they're there. 15th in the National League. I almost got scared for a minute. Chester and Woking up. Any massive side stuck in here apart from them? No. So Birmingham's still the story of it, really. But if we go down to the north and south, we've got Darlington coming up. No massive shocks at the top there. Harrogate still 2 divisions down. But I'd say that's just about it. And then into the south. Last chance for a big surprise. League table. Stevenage from League 2. Exeter from League 2. They've just gone up to League 1 in real life. But not many other massive shocks. So a few surprises. Nothing too drastic. Let's see who's been winning the FA Cup. Mainly Manchester City, with one for our former club United. And Sheffield United, won the year we were at Real Madrid. The Carabao Cup has been shared out a bit more. Good to see Palace winning one. Excellent work from our former side. Liverpool with a couple, City and Leicester. Let's move down to the EFL Trophy. Mostly under 23 sides, but the last couple of years, Southend and Wimbledon getting a success each. And the FA Trophy, spread across mostly former Football League clubs, Halifax and Bromley getting recent ones too. On to Scottish football, let's see how that's progressing. It is 5 in a row for Celtic. Rangers are getting the odd one and they had that big success at the start of the save, but Celtic back in their dominant spell now, although the top goal scorer is coming from Hamilton, who have just been relegated. Imagine he might get a big move this summer. But the league's maybe not progressed as much as we see in some of the other saves, particularly when the UK leagues are loaded, but I guess because there's lots of leagues loaded in the head coach, that maybe explains this outcome. No huge surprises in the top tier. Rafe are up there again. We saw in the Bangor City save in FM21. Rafe are quite often the story of the save. Let's go down to the Championship though. We have got Dundee United coming back up, St Mirren coming back up. Arbroath unfortunately fall into League One. Interesting to see East Fife in the second tier as well. As we go to League One, East Kilbride are in the third tier and Morton are going down to the fourth. And then in League Two, have we got any big surprises? Four Martin Spartans are there. And unless I'm mistaken, no sign of Stirling Albion, one of the regulars supported sides. So not a good spell for them. Scottish football maybe not as shocking this time. Let's go to the big European trophies though, and then we'll do the international ones too. So the Champions League has finally been won by Bayern. The top scorer was Abdurrahman, that star Turkish striker. City had won 3 in a row before that. United the year before after we won it with Real Madrid. So City starting to dominate that trophy a little bit. Bayern, that's a real disappointment with the squad they've got in this career. On to the Europa League, something we've not really competed in this year. Hoffenheim, who we played in that final game in the Champions League final, they won it the year before we played them and they've won it this season. United got one as well. Leipzig with a couple, Chelsea and Dortmund. On to the Europa Conference, how many English sides? Crystal Palace. They won it the year they got into European football. That's an incredible effort. West Ham, Arsenal, Spurs, Napoli and Cagliari as Italian football makes a comeback. But great to see Palace winning trophies. So our legacy has lived on a bit. Let's turn our attention to international football. And my word, what has happened to Scandinavia? Look at the last 2 World Cup winners. Denmark last year. Norway the final before. Tell me who expected that. Couple for England and France prior. Right, let's go and see this Denmark squad. How on earth were they winning? Because the league hasn't gone up. It's not like it's a big reputation league now. But they've got loads of players in Italian football. And most of them seem to be pretty big stars. René Lausen is probably one of the best midfielders in the world. Mervic, he's superb, the centre-half. They seem to have really good players mentally as well. But I wouldn't say this is the best side you're ever going to see. So I'm a little bit surprised that they're perhaps going and winning trophies like that. But then they've got some world-class talent in there. Denmark, the most recent winners of the World Cup. Their manager is George Couto. And the time before, maybe even more surprisingly, it was Norway. But I guess then they still had the back end of Erling Haaland. They've got Stefan Johansson in charge, the former Fulham and QPR player. And their league's gone up to 3-star reputation. The star man is at Liverpool. He's a world-class winger. They've got a man at PSG who's another world-class winger. So basically, they've got the best wide players and Denmark have got the best central players. All of their stars are in the same positions. And it looks like there's another generation of wonder kids coming through with Norway. It's a mix of very young and very old in their side. Once their younger ones reach maybe their peak, I think they'll be all right. And of course, a player we had, Patrick Dudek. Not the best goalkeeper in the world, but he's won a World Cup and you can't take that away from him. But I'm quite surprised by that. Wonderful effort from Norway and Scandinavia dominating world football. Nobody would have expected it. Let's go and see if that's reflected in the European Championships. It's not. I mean, Italy are basically having a free-for-all there. 1 win for France, although 2036, Italy beat Norway in the final. So they won the World Cup, then got to the Euros final. Norway are a world footballing powerhouse here, and maybe with the likes of Aya and Haaland and Erdegaard and many more coming through, maybe that will happen in real life. We'll wait and see. But Italy, definitely the superstars when it comes to European football. Let's finish off with the Nations League. 1 more to go. And finally some success for England, who have won 5 of the last 8 with 3 going to Spain. But it's going to be a new winner. Looking at the finals this year, Portugal v Switzerland, Turkey v Denmark. So the world champions could be there again. Top scorers from Norway though. A good striker, certainly not a great one. I'm really impressed by that. The international scene has changed hands quite a bit. There's a lot of variation on it, certainly more than at club level, which is great. But let me know what you think of it. Did I miss any big stories? Is it as you expected? I'm sure no one predicted Scandinavian dominance at the World Cup. But let me know what you thought of the stories of the save. Let me know what you thought of our career, our clubs, and how impressed are you at how some of them have done since we've left. Let me know all of that in the comments below. If you did enjoy that final review of this head coach save, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. But with an end in this save comes excitement and something new. The Hemel save is back tomorrow, before on Saturday we start a brand new save. There are a few spoilers of it on the Discord, but we will be here with a brand new series, so please do come and check it out. In the meantime, you can find links to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and the merchandise store in the eye above. But above my head now is the new season of the Hemel Save. Give that one a try if you haven't already, and I'll see you here again in 2 days' time for a brand new series to replace the head coach.